Well, today's story's fun. A very expensive branded collab immediately brought the internet down on Arrowhead Interactive. It's honestly kind of crazy, and their first response to the whole situation was understandable, logical, true, but it was also peak saying the quiet part out loud, but not really in a way that helped. Within a day, though, they changed their mind. So it's really quite the story. It is one of those, we're so back, it's so over, we're so back cycles, really faster than ever. So here's the deal overall. Helldivers 2 Omens of Tyranny added in the Illuminate, who are the third faction, melee weapons, a new Warbond, and a weapon being in the rotating store. Now that latter thing raised people's eyebrows just a little bit about monetization, but overall the news was good. Player numbers surged way back to their April levels just before the PSN debacle. And then right after that, the Killzone 2 collab was announced. The backlash was immediate because the more you looked at the details and even the data mining, the worse the situation seemed. So let's dive in, and this democratic update is supported by today's sponsor. They're pretty damn cool because they fix ads and actually earn you money. So they're called Pi, they're new, they're free, and here's how it all works. First, you grab their browser extension at my link. When you do that, it will block all adverts for you, and as an example on that, on this channel, we've got to browse through so many gaming news websites, and if you do the same, you know, like, you've got auto-playing videos, banner ads, it's a total just, hellscape. And they even have this neat little feature that visualizes how much space the extension saves you. But here's where Pi gets actually kind of game-changing. It's you earning money, because you can opt in to fair ads and you'll get paid as you use the internet, and there's also instant rewards where there's a limited number of those and you can be paid to check them out. But then it actually gets better. So I do the majority of my shopping online. I think most people do. And when you're doing that, it's often good to have some sort of cashback extension installed so you get the right promo codes and stuff. But if you use an ad blocker, well, usually that all breaks, but not with Pi, because it's got cashback built in across thousands of different stores. And of course, the big ones like your Best Buys and your Walmarts. Putting all that together, Pi basically exists to align incentives. You get an internet that is free of aggressive clutter, you can opt in to fair, reasonable ads, and you'll be able to still get all of the cashback and shopping deals. I've never really seen a product like it. It's pretty damn new, and well, you can get started super easily by just downloading the free Chrome extension at pi.org/bellularnews. Many years ago, before Horizon Zero Dawn was even a thing, Guerrilla Games were actually known for Killzone, and specifically here Killzone 2. It was supposed to be the PS3 system seller. It actually had a massive controversy of its own, but that's a story for another day. What you need to know though is that the Killzone franchise totally fits Arrowhead's sort of set need for a collaboration to be thematically consistent with their game. And in this case, it's because the Hellgast basically are, big space fash vibes. So it all fits. Now the collab does involve a free thing for everybody, and that is a new missile launcher that comes from a stratagem, but otherwise it is all premium, or as Arrowhead in their very own words said, a new tier of special premium content reserved for collaborations and other uniquely themed work. So, yeah, suffice to say, that didn't really go down well at all. Arrowhead's initial explanation also didn't help, but they have since relented. That's because what is on the store right now is not going to change, but the rest of the event will, and it's pretty damn clear that they have felt the sting in this one. First though, let's examine the store, and to dangle a little bit of intrigue for you, turns out doesn't actually seem this was supposed to be a store event. It seems like it might have been a Warbond. We'll get to that in a bit. But basically, here's what you got, right? 6 super credit purchases that have been added to the store. And at launch, buying all of these would set you back 1,975 credits. That is about $20 worth, and of course $20 worth of credits is enough to buy 2 entire Warbonds, because Warbonds are $10 each. And crunching the numbers, we really see what specialty or premium means. So for $20, right, you get 1 gun and a set. So basically you get 6 items in total. Now contrast that with the latest Warbond. It's got 3 pages of rewards. You get a melee weapon, a directional shield, the SR24 set, SR18 set, 2 stratagems, and then you get some cosmetics, stuff like emotes, capes, vehicle skins, but also each page has 100 super credits for a total of 300 super credits, so you're actually getting those credits back. Now, to get the 6 Hellgast items, as I said, you'd need to spend $20. That would be on the 2100 super credit pack, so you would have like a few of them left over. Now, if you were to spend that on 2 Warbonds, you would get way more items, but you'd also get 600 credits back. So it's not that these items are 20 or 30% more expensive. No, these are like multiple times more expensive than what people are used to. And of course, it's worse because they're not exclusively cosmetic. Now, players have broadly accepted that new armor and, cosmetics and weapons via a $10 Warbond is basically an okay value proposition because you're also getting a drip feed of those credits while you're playing. But in this case, right? So the good news is the gun is not some insanely overpowered thing, so it doesn't feel ludicrously pay to win, but the Hellghast armor is actually quite desirable. That's because it gives you a 50% resistance to all damage types. Now, the base game armors can give you like a 90% resistance, but only to one. So even just for the convenience of having like a one-size-fits-all set, like, that's pretty damn good. That's something you're going to want. But still, it is awful value. I mean, the Super Credit Store melee weapon, right, that raised eyebrows like 2 days ago, that only costs 200. The Hellghast rifle is 615. That is just over 3 times as much, which is a hell of a lot of money. So what gives? Why has any of this happened? And how did the data mining make it all seem much worse? Why so expensive? I would say broadly 2 reasons. Future-proofing and just to earn some more money. And not for exclusively awful reasons. It's normal for a company to want some profit, and the relatively new CEO, Shams Rojani, said that this is their first collab, so they're trying to figure things out as they go along. But most importantly, he said this. Secondly, it's optional. The more of this we sell, the more Illuminate-type stuff we can keep dropping for free. And he went on to be more clear. This was my way of saying the better the game does, the more stuff we can do. Which is, of course, completely sensible. We all understand that, but it's not really the player's problem, right? Why so expensive? Well, obviously, it's a collaboration. There's licensing fees and that kind of thing, right? But here, that's not really the case, or at least it shouldn't be, because Sony owns the Killzone IP. So, seemingly then, this is priced not based on cost, because they presumably are not having to give Sony loads and loads and loads of money to use Killzone, though maybe they are, but maybe it's also the expected margin that they will relinquish to their future collaborators, which we do want. I mean, Johan has talked about Trench Crusade and Warhammer 40k as pipe dream brands that they would love to collab with. And that makes me think that this is some classic price anchoring. They expect future collabs to be expensive, likely because of licensing fees, so they better make sure they're starting as they mean to go on. Okay, but there's another thing that makes this immediately seem much worse, and that is the data mining. Assets data mined from the Omens of Tyranny update by Iron Sights revealed this collab in the form of some imagery, right? Look at this bit of key art. It says Premium Warbond. Now, of course, the very astute of us may have realized that this is not a Premium Warbond, and the live version of that graphic says Premium Superstore, which is what it is. Now, many people saw this and basically thought, hang on a second, did you take what was supposed to be one Warbond and then just turn it into 2 hyper-expensive time-limited store events? Because that absolutely is what it looked like. And even though we'd all expect the Premium Warbond would cost more than $10, I think, say, that weapon being 3 times more expensive as the melee weapon that was previously on the Superstore, like, would it have been a $30 Warbond? Really? Now, what's interesting is the CCO, Johan Pilstedt, actually responded to this thing directly. He said this: "Sorry you felt the price was steep, we are looking at all feedback. The reason we changed it from a Warbond was actually because there were concerns that having a higher priced Warbond would carry negative sentiment." And when you dive in, that's a fascinating statement. In other games like, say, Overwatch, your big collab bundle will cost something like $40, so maybe they were targeting a Warbond that was like $30-40, the sort of thing that actually would have spooked players, basically because the Warbond is the thing that keeps this game alive. So if people see pricing changes to that, maybe they're going to start getting properly worried. So I'd say that could be why they did it with the store. Now, the way that this whole thing would work, of course, is first the 5-day store event, and then after that, there was going to be another 5-day store event with the rest of the cosmetics. People basically assumed that would be roughly $40 worth overall. Now, funnily enough, there was a store change with this where it would be on the store for 5 days instead of the usual 2, which should mean less FOMO, more time. But of course, in context, what it really felt like to people was just dangling the hyper expensive stuff just in front of people for longer. So yeah, The gamers were not thrilled, people were not happy, and it's kind of funny because in the video we published just as this story broke, I ended that video saying that I expected they would mess up, but based on their track record, I trusted them to take on the feedback. I think when I said that, I had no idea just how quickly that cycle would happen. So let's talk about the big walkback. First up, the existing cosmetics are staying on the store, but they're going to be up for 10 days instead of 5, so that people have got time to earn more of those credits. Then Arrowhead are actually looking to bring them back to the store, eventually permanently, in a way where there won't be FOMO, but it seems that till then, they'll just be rotating back in, which at least is good enough. Now, their update also promises they'll revisit pricing. I wonder if that's just in future events, or if they will maybe, like, discount these and then refund people the difference in super credits. Hard to know at this stage. And largest of all, especially in the spreadsheet of whoever was forecasting lots of money coming from these, the entire planned second wave is being given away to everybody for free. And then also the Wasp stratagem will be available via a major order. Now, they've basically taken half of the stuff they wanted to sell, and they've given it away for free, which very much is the mother of all break glass in case of emergency situations. So the question is, has this worked? Have they actually sold lots of these sets, and what's going to happen next? Make no mistake, this has made a shitload of money. So Steam's best-selling chart is actually ranked by revenue, it's not ranked by units sold, and Helldivers has stayed really high, like since the Game Awards, but it actually hit rank 2 globally when all of this was going on. So yeah, they were making a lot of money. Now of course the whole Warbond plus store model always risked this kind of problem happening, but I think it was never really a binary good/bad thing. It was always just ensuring that Arrowhead don't take the piss. I think it's one of those things that is not binary, but it's rather a scale. It's based on weightings, and in this case, it was enough to tip the scales. But they were already moving in that direction. I mean, you had the melee weapon being on the super credit store, and then the war bonds are, you know, they're pretty brisk. It's $10, and then on top of that, people were assuming some sort of premium $20 per page of rewards, a superstore thing, then becoming normal. That absolutely did spook people. Now, the walkback has helped here, and that they've said these will rotate back in, and then that there will be some sort of permanent store definitely is good for, like, the consumer friendliness of all of this. But for me, there's another thing that makes a humongous difference here. They've said that they will be taking a break before doing any more collabs because they, quote, don't want to turn into a diluted IP. Obviously, I'm thinking of Call of Duty. I'm thinking of Overwatch. And in those games, you as a player actually have a worse time because other people have bought cosmetics. If you just like Call of Duty Black Ops because you enjoyed those games, you like their vibes, and you then go and you play a match, and you see various people from different brands, there's Homelander, there's a Space Marine, like it was in Modern Warfare 3, well, that's no longer the same experience. I mean, Call of Duty actually knows that because in COD Zombies, whenever you upgrade at the Pack-a-Punch machine, by default, it turns your weapon into this disgusting, garish-looking, horrible thing. And there's actually a button to toggle those off so that your guns will still be normal guns. That's basically a tacit admission that those garish cosmetics do dilute some of the experience. So in this case, that they want to stick with brands that actually fit the Helldivers IP and that they're taking a break is a good thing, because with these store cosmetics, look, I can avoid them, I can simply not buy them, but if they end up standing out to the point where I can't help but notice them and I'm pulled out of the Helldivers experience, well, that's bad in a way that you can't opt out of. But I think the real reason why this stung is actually deeper than all of that, and it's why Giorgiani's statement about paying for the game and hey, we can do more free content if you buy more shit, like, it makes logical sense, but it feels wrong. And that's because Helldivers 2 is a $40 game in the vein of PlayStation's live service model, not a free-to-play game. And that does make it harder to put pressure on players to keep the game alive and keep the content coming. Now, obviously, ongoing development is an expensive thing, yeah, but to do this type of live service, you need to make sure that that never feels like your player's problem, especially when everybody knows you're one of the top-selling games of the year, and you even did like 12 million copies within just 3 months. And yes, a lot of that money will have went back to Sony, but that's always how it is, and a lot of it would have went to Arrowhead. And on this story, we actually know for a fact, or at least if we believe them for a fact, that this was not PlayStation's thing, that this wasn't Sony saying, hello, we would like the line to go up, make them expensive. No, Arrowhead actually owned this L. They said that they are in the driving seat behind these decisions, and it is, quote, on them. Which is a good thing, actually, because if this was on Sony, it would be like the PSN account linking thing where Arrowhead just have really no say in the matter. In this case, though, well, they did fuck up. But because they fucked up, they hopefully have got a form of control and won't do it again in the future. Here's what Johan said at the end to kind of sum it all up. Thanks. I mean, we're all in it together. It's an ecosystem that needs to be sustainable. If we do stuff you like, we are able to sustain the business and make more stuff you'll hopefully like. And then that continues until it doesn't work, at which point the story ends. Yeah, that's how the live services happen. I suppose, for me, I'm stunned that this pricing even happened in the first place, because to me it seems so transparently just primed to blow up in your face. But given how quickly they've changed their tune and how high magnitude the 180 has been, like literally giving half the items away, I doubt they'll make this kind of mistake again. And maybe one reason why they feel okay doing that is, well, they were ranked 2 best-selling in Steam, so they did make a shitload of money, and maybe their financial modeling says, okay, we actually didn't need to go that hard, let's try to be a little bit more sustainable. Who knows, and perhaps we'll even make it to 2025 without another Helldivers 2 drama, but don't hold your breath. And after this, I got a hell of a video for you, because there's another video game that is currently doubling the peaks that Helldivers is experiencing. It's Marvel Rivals, and comparing and contrasting to Overwatch is quite the thing, so check out our video on it next.